Hey y'all, it's me, Kyle. I'm out here working on my boat today. There she is, good old Windsong. We tried to go sailing yesterday. I didn't get any videos of it, but it ended up being a complete mess. The winds were way stronger than was predicted, at least the prediction that I got. So we ended up getting out to the bay, and it was just like completely just crazy. So we decided to cancel that trip. But it wasn't until after we were trying, me and my buddy Patrick were trying to set up the sails out there, out in the water. And what ended up happening is when we raised the mast, we weren't thorough enough on checking the halyards to make sure everything was clear, so that we could just raise up the sails. So big mistake there. So I won't make that again. But when we raised the mast, the halyard, the main sheet halyard, was all kinds of twisted around the mast and around the different stays, the forestay and the side stay. So it was just crazy out there because it was so windy. But I was going to reef the main, but once we got out there, it was just like, it was too crazy. And so I told Patrick to turn on the motor. There's a little motor right here. It's just a little Nissan 5 horsepower motor. I told him to turn on the motor and or leave the motor running. Well, after we motored out into the bay, I told him to leave the motor running on a low setting, and then just keep the boat pointed into the wind. After about 5-10 minutes or so of him trying to keep the boat from squirreling all over the place, he was unable to manage it. So I told him I'll take over the helm. So I got on the motor and asked him to go and troubleshoot the halyard situation, and so he did. And he actually was able to, after about 20-25 minutes or so of just getting tossed around by the winds and the swells out there, he was actually able to figure out, and he successfully untangled the halyard. However, there unfortunately was not a stopper knot in the bottom of the halyard. So, and the halyard on this boat runs through the mast. So in any case, that was what I was trying to fix today. So luckily it is a nice trailer sailor, so this fork is supposed to be a little more upright. There we go. Yeah, it's supposed to be upright, so you can see it's a trailer sailor. So what I had to do to fix this issue was kind of parked a little close to the house there. But at least it's nice and compact. Anyhow, so what I ended up doing is I went to Lowe's and I bought some wire, and this little wire right here. It's a very thin gauge. After attempting to run the wire through, what I had to do is basically fish the wire through. I've already got it out now, but you can see the halyard. Let's see, you can see it right there. That's the halyard. So it runs through this little hole all the way through the mast to and then pops out the other end over there on this roller thingy. So the first thing I did was I took the roller thing off. That's that little black tip on the end there with the rope hanging from it. That's the top of the halyard. This is the top of the mast. So I tried fishing that wire through the mast, but it ended up being too thin of a gauge. I got a 16 gauge. Probably should have been like a, I don't know, 18 or 20 at least. Something a bit considerably thicker, because this was too thin. But so what I did is I just spooled out a ridiculous amount of wire, and I attached the end of it to my drill. The end that I was working with here. I attached this end to my drill right here. You see I've got a bit of a hook in it now. I attached it to my drill, and then I just spun the wire to basically made a double-sized wire, and that worked perfectly. Once I put the doubled wire together, you can see it's kind of spiraled now. After I put the double-sided wire back into the mast, I ran this point through. It was a little straighter before I did it, but I ran this point. I was able to push it easily all the way through the mast, and it popped out the other side. Then I grabbed this end right here. You see this end? Now I put a stopper knot in it, so this does never happen again. But I poked the wire through the rope on the other end of the mast, which would be that end over there. And then I hooked the wire around. That's why that little kink is in there. I don't know if you can see that very well. But I put that little kink in there, so I basically poked it through the wire and then crimped it on, and then pulled and basically fished the halyard back through the mast. So it was a little bit harder than I expected it to be. I thought I was just going to be able to run that wire through and then pull the halyard back through, but I could not do that. And I also had to remove that plug in the end. I also had to remove this little runner thing on the end, that little black part there. I had to remove that so that the wire could easily pop out. Otherwise, it pretty much wouldn't have been possible. So, anyway, just wanted to give an update. Here I am with my lovely boat, Windsong. See you next time.